Hi everybody, it's Christina. Welcome back to Adventures in Polish Land. Today I have a reading update, but then I thought it would be really fun to share with you how much I've saved by utilizing my local library this year, so we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. The one book I finished this week, I actually finished it this morning, is The City and Its Uncertain Walls by Haruki Murakami. This is my first Murakami and I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4.5-star rating. There were just a few minor things that I didn't love, but overall this was such an amazing read. The book starts out when our protagonist is 17 years old. He is an unnamed narrator. He has a girlfriend who's 16. He really cares for her deeply, and one day she mysteriously disappears and he has no idea where she went. He can't find her or her family. He doesn't know if she died or if she just simply lost interest in him. She has essentially vanished. And the only thing that he knows about her is that she had told him that her real self was actually living in a town surrounded by very high walls, and that the person he knew was a shadow of her real self. And so the story continues. Our protagonist grows older, and all the while he is trying to move on with his life, but he really can't because he loved his girlfriend so much. Even though they were high school sweethearts, she meant so much to him that he has a really difficult time moving on. And one day he finds himself in the town surrounded by the tall walls, and the story goes from there. This book is so poignant. It's so beautifully written. You can tell it's translated. The writing is a little bit on the more simplistic side, but the book is so well crafted. I never knew where the story was going, but it flowed from one thing to another so well. So much happens in this book. I read so many books where you have a grand idea of where the ending of the book is going to be, and essentially you're moving from point A to point B towards the ending. In here, there was no point A to point B. It went from one place to the other, somewhere else. We meet a new character, we go to another setting. It was really fascinating, and I really loved that. I also thought the themes in this book were really cool. It has magical realism in it, which I'm not usually a huge fan of, but it worked really well for me in this book. And I also love the theme of love. You know, our main character is hung up on his high school girlfriend, and at some points he feels embarrassed about that, but in reality, it doesn't matter how young they were. He had real feelings for her, and she was a real important person to him. I also really liked the discussion on otherness, what it means to be oneself and to not feel accepted, what it means to be a different person at different times in your life. I found that really interesting, and I will definitely be reading more Murakami in the future. I highly recommend this book, and I would love to know your thoughts on it if you've read it, because like I said, so much happens, and I'm not telling you a long drawn-out plot line because I think it's best discovered as you read the novel. But that's the one book I finished this week. And now I thought it would be interesting to share more about my library experience. So one of my goals for 2024 was to buy all of the books that I read used or got them from the library. I didn't want to buy any brand new books. I just think it's better for the environment since there are so many millions of books already mass produced. I do recognize that authors will not get paid if I don't buy their books brand new, and I am thinking of other ways to contribute to authors besides just supporting them on social media, but I haven't come up with a great solution for that yet, so let me know your thoughts. But anyway, I successfully achieved that goal, and I read 25 books from the library this year. I have read 42 books in total so far, so more than half of my reading has been from the library. What I did was I added up the retail price of the book, and then I also added up the current Amazon price of the book. Now, I would never buy a book on Amazon or anything else if I can help it ever again. I would much rather support local bookstores or used bookstores or even independent sellers on the used book market like on eBay. But I think Amazon is a fair representation of what the book would cost to buy new if I were to go out and do that. So the grand total for the retail price is $659.80. And even when we consider the Amazon pricing, the grand total is $406.55. So I have saved at a bare minimum over $400 this year just by supporting my local library. And I should mention, I did not count any of the books that I checked out and returned without finishing them. And I also didn't count all of the jigsaw puzzles that I checked out from the library and completed this year either. And I did about 5 to 10 puzzles from the library in the early months of the year. So I'm really excited about this. I typically stop by the library on my way home from running other errands, so it's not like extra gas was used or anything like that. But I think it's really important to support your local library. They do so much for our communities and they offer us so much that it's really fun to use them and support them. And I also thought it was interesting that when I broke down the average cost per book, this is a fascinating number to me. On the retail price of the book, the average cost was $26.39. That's a lot of money. The Amazon average also is pretty high at $16.26. And when you think about the hourly rate in this country, I'm pretty sure the national hourly rate is still $7.25. If I'm wrong, I will write that on the screen here. And I know many states have raised their minimum wage to above that, but as you can see, you would have to work more than 2 hours, probably 3 when you consider taxes, in order to buy just one book. And I highly recommend using your local library. If you're not able to go out to the library, definitely check and see if your library has ebooks available to you, because I know most libraries now will let you check out free ebooks, and some libraries even have a service where they will mail you books or have some sort of delivery, so definitely check out that option as well. But that's it for today. I haven't started reading another book yet, but right now for the rest of the year, I'm going to focus on my physical TBR. I might make another video about that to show you what's currently on my TBR, because I would like to keep it at about 5 books total, and I'm over that right now. So we'll talk about that later, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on anything I mentioned today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.